Hello, this is the gameplay video for Pulp City Supreme Edition. Just a quick look at one game round so that you get a better idea how exactly Pulp City works. As you can see, the hero starter and the villain starter are already deployed on this little dockside map. It's a 2x2 table. It's a lot of fun to play on tables such small as this one, but you can definitely go bigger when you have more miniatures on the table. So as you see, the villains are deployed in one of the corners next to the big robot, while the heroes are next to the building just across the bridge. Now, if you see, Anansi, another part of the villain set, is deployed somewhere else, but remember, she's an infiltrator, so she got a chance to position herself in the first round. So how this exactly works? Well, one of the first things you do in each round is to calculate the action pool. Action points that go into the action pool is what you'll be using to pay for actions during the entire game. The action pool is flexible, so it really depends on what kind of Supremes you got in your team, but also it depends on which Supremes are still alive. So you will always find in on the card how many points each of the characters contribute. In most cases it's very simple. For instance, the villain team is very straightforward, as you're getting for your starters 2 points from Nuke and 3 points from Aurelius and 4 points from Anansi. So you see there are differences. The more offensive characters, the less AP they generate. Unless they're infiltrators, which are meant to be absolutely self-sufficient, and they generate almost as many points as they need each round. So we got 2 plus 3 plus 4 for a total of 9 points, and they're marked with the black points in the corner of the table. Now with heroes, this is where it gets more tricky, because normally Ace and Wildman are Brawler and Blaster, and they would generate just 2 points. And Tekna generates 4 points for a total of 8 points. But Tekna is a support character, so what she does, each round when you calculate the action pool, you see how many friendly Supremes are within 6 inches of Tekna, and each of those Supremes generates 1 extra point, meaning that they will start the encounter with 10 points. So this is how the action points work. Now you will be using those action points to fuel the actions of your Supremes. It's okay to pre-measure in the games of Pulp City. We thought that this is the best solution to give you the most tactical power in every activation. In each round you'll be designating one model to be the leader of the band. It's usually the model with the highest mind value. In case of bigger encounters, you will probably have a real leader, in case of which it's going to be much easier. In this case, we have Tekna, who has a mind trait of 5, and on the villain side we have Aurelius, who sports a pretty decent 4, but it's not a trump trait, so he'll never be getting any extras out of it. So let's see, the black dice are marked for villains and the yellow dice are marked for heroes. So let's see who goes first. Okay, so heroes roll 5, added to Tekna's mind of 5, that's obviously 10, and the villains end up with a total of 7, so heroes get to activate first or choose who activates first, but let's assume they really want to get quick to those villains. In games of Pulp City, you don't pay for movement with action points, you pay with fatigue. Each model can be fatigued 2 times. There are some exceptions to it, like speeders, who can be fatigued 3 times in every round. There are also some hostile game effects that fatigue models, or sometimes fatigue is a cost that you pay for activation your action. But let's safely assume that right now we're going to fatigue Wildman and let him go into the cover, knowing that Nuke is getting closer. Wildman has a movement value of 5, so he's able easily to get into the cover behind the giant robot's leg. Pulp City is a game of alternating activations, so right now we get to move somebody from the other team. By the way, the die that I just moved is a power-up die. Well, you get all sorts of chances to create power-up dice. Those are the dice that you can use at any time of the encounter, whether you're attacking or defending. So these guys spend the first round generating a couple of these through Techna special powers. So let's activate right now the villain, somebody from the other team. It's obviously going to be Nuke, and Nuke is going to move his 4 inches and take a shot at Wildman. See, the thing is that Wildman technically is still a little bit in the cover, so he'll be rolling 1 extra die for cover condition, allowing him to have a better chance to actually dodge Nuke's attack. And this is the first case of the real action oppose roll that we're going to be doing. So what do you take? We're going to first choose the action with which Nuke is going to attack Wildman. And since the range is very close, yeah, it's less than 2 inches, we're going to use the cheapest action that he has, which is the nuclear powerhouse. This is a very powerful action because it costs just 1 action point, and it allows you to do some serious damage on models that are within 2 inches. It's a projectile action, so it targets just 1 person, in this case going to be Wildman. So this is how it works. Right now, whenever you do an action, you first pay the cost of this action. You take the 1 action point from the pool of the team and you put it either next to the miniature or on the card, however you like it. Then you calculate all the dice that Nuke's going to be using in his attack. So each model gets 1 die as a default. Then you generate extra dice. Nuke is a blaster, which means that he generates 2 extra dice whenever he's attacking a model while not having anybody in base to base with him. So that's that's already 3 dice, and the 4th die comes from the special thing that they do, which is the action is strong versus any living model. Whenever something is strong against a certain type, that always generates an extra die. So Nuke is going to be rolling a half the amount of dice to damage Wildman. Let's take a look at Wildman. Defensively, he's going to roll 1 die, but since he's in cover, part of him is covered from Nuke and Nuke doesn't get a clear line of sight, then he's going to be rolling 2 dice. So let's see how it works out. Now, at this point, before it's even rolled, Wildman can decide whether he wants to use his power-up die. And he's going to do so, so the die is cancelled and he puts another die in his pool. That has to happen before any dice are rolled. So we have double 2s, 1 1 1 and 1 5. So obviously the highest roll will stand. That's very, very bad for Nuke because we hope to generate some special effects. Then this is the Wildman's roll, and Wildman's total is 5. Now, Nuke uses his energy, one of his highest traits, trait of 6, to target Wildman. So total of his roll is 11, while Wildman is using his agility to dodge. Obviously what it means is that his agility is 4 with the highest roll of 5, that's 9. That's not enough to stop Nuke's attack, and Nuke attacks goes through. It does, as you see on the action description, whenever you beat your opponent's score by 1, you deal the basic FX, which we abbreviate for effects. So in this case, it's the straightforward 2 points of damage. But Nuke has something else in his disposal. Since he rolled a 5, he is eligible for generating E-effects, which is the extra effects. Why? Because all models generate E-effects on 6. Models that have a trump trait and they use it in the roll generate these effects, E-effects, on 5+. Now powerhouses are very special. We don't have any powerhouses here, but just to let you know, powerhouses generate E-effects on 4+. There's a chance that Wildman could have countered that E-effects with his fortunate rolls, but his agility is not a trump trait, so 5 will not do it. It would have to be a 6. So obviously Nuke not only generated the basic effects, but also generated the E effects. And now if you look at the Nuke's card, this is again a very straightforward action. Nuclear Powerhouse doesn't let you choose many extra E effects. It allows you to just choose one, which is damage. So we've just damaged this guy for 3 points of health, which takes him seriously down. So it's back to the heroes, and you get to generate another action. Now, in this game, and this is what really sets it apart from other games, once you activate your model, it's not necessarily done. A model can activate as many times as it does have its AP limit. Whenever you do an action and it uses up an action point, just like in the case of Nuke, you put that token on the card or next to the model. So until the number of tokens, the action point tokens that you put on the card or next to the model is lower than the model's AP limit for a round, then you're still free to go. So even though you activated already Nuke and Wildman, you still get a chance to do both. Nuke has an AP value of 3, allowing him to spend 2 more action points this round, and Wildman has a AP value of 4, allowing him to spend 4 more points. So what's going to happen right now? Well, obviously it's time for retaliation. So here we go. Wildman is using his second fatigue to attack Nuke, and he's going to go for his basic action, Rending Slash. Now he's a brawler, so he'll be generating a ton of dice. First, his basic die that comes from the fact that every model gets a die. Then his special brawler skill or brawler power allows him to generate 1 extra die in all attacks that are in base against models in base to base. Now, other thing is that models, whenever they charge into combat, so make a move and then attack, generate 1 extra die for momentum bonus. And if you thought that this was enough, no, it's not. He gets another die for using his special movement, which is bounding. Bounding not only allows you to cross obstacles, but it also gives you an extra die whenever you charge into the combat. Now I'm starting to run out of the dice, but that's not enough. Rending Slash has this special little description that it's strong against models with full HP. Obviously Nuke was not damaged before, so he is having all the special, all the health left. So I'll be rolling a total of 5 dice against a mere 1 die from Nuke. First I have to pay the points. Rending Slash costs 2 action points, and I'll be rolling that. So if you see, Wildman will be able to perform 1 more Rending Slash in this round or do some other action. So Wildman gets to roll 5 dice against Nuke's 1. And he's got a 6 and a 6, and these results, I don't think they will count. So now the roll for Nuke, and he rolls a 2. Unfortunately, that's not enough to save him. Even though that Nuke's defense is 5 and it's a trump trade, it's only a total of 7 against the onrushing might of Wildman. His strength of 5 plus 6, that's 11. Obviously we beat the guy. So let's see what we do. The basic effect of Rending Slash is damage 2. So Nuke gets damaged for 2 points. But we are also fortunate enough to have generated 2 EFX with those 6s. So what we're gonna choose? Well, again, it's a very straightforward action. Most blasters and brawlers have the straightforward action to deal just damage. So he gets to choose 2 points of damage. 1 point for each of the dice, damaging Nuke for a total of 4 points of damage. So this was really brutal. Okay, so this is what has happened in here. Now, well, Nuke is not in the best condition. Of course, Wildman will be rolling less die next round because he cannot move and he's bound to stay in the position where this guy is. But we're gonna do something interesting. So we're going to activate Aurelius, and Aurelius is going to move his 4 inches and get into base to base with his friend Nuke. And he's going to boost himself because he will be defending very soon. He's going to use an action called Golden Boy. It costs only 1 action point, and it allows you to boost yourself. So how does this work? This is a case of a little different action roll. This is where you're using actually Aurelius's defense against the target value. In this case, the target value is 8. So he's going to use his defense of 5. He did not generate any extra dice, but he's going to use his defense of 5 against target value 8. Of course, target values don't roll any dice, so on 3+, we'll be able to trigger Golden Boy. And it is 3+, which means that we triggered the action, did not generate any extra effects, but what happens is that he's going to be, for the rest of the round, self-attack 1 and self-defend 1, meaning that both his attacks and defenses are going to be more powerful. So there we go. This is for the villains. What the heroes are going to do? Obviously, they're going to go for the second rending slash. I'm going to put 1 point next to him to know that he used it up from his pool. So Wildman uses up his last AP allowed for this round. His limit is 4 and he's there. And he's going to attack Nuke again. So he paid his points, his basic die. Nuke is no longer on full health, so he'll be not generating dead dice. He did not charge, he did not get the momentum bonus, he did not get the bounding bonus. So the only extra die that he's entitled to is the die for the brawler power. So that's going to be rolled, but hey, you thought you're going to be fighting Nuke? Not really. You're going to be fighting Aurelius right now. Why? Because Aurelius is a tank. Tanks have this really awesome power which allows them to take damage for the models that are just in base to base with them. Let me read you. Tanks add +1 die when defending, and any combat action roll used against friendly models in base to base with the tank may be directed against the tank at the tank's player's decision. So of course we're going to do that. So it's going to be 2 Wildman's die against 1 basic die of Aurelius, backed up with 1 die for his tank power and 1 die from the Golden Boy, which we just used in the previous activation. So let's see how it rolls. Wildman rolls 5 and a 3 for a total of 10, I believe. Let me double check. Yes, it's a total of 10. And Aurelius uses his dice. And this is a really good roll. Now, we're coming to something very interesting, because Wildman has a 10 and Aurelius has a 10 as well. So how do we break those ties in games of Pulp City? We break the ties based on the origins of the characters. How does that exactly work? Well, there are 3 types of origins, and they're a little paper, rock, scissors game. So you check the origin of the character. In case of the Wildman, it's going to be the nature, while in case of Aurelius, it's mystery, because he's an alchemist. In this game of rock, paper, scissors, mystery always beats nature. So Aurelius actually wins this roll, even though he did not win it technically. So basically, when the defender wins, there's no damage dealt. Those 5s do not generate any effects on the defensive rolls, but they could have cancelled some of the Wildman's success rolls if he actually managed to beat Aurelius in his roll. So these guys are safe, and Wildman is basically done for a round and sitting there like a duck. Now what happens on the other side of the table then? Well, it's the villain's turn, and we're gonna take a look what Anansi is going to do. So she's a wall crawler, having a lot of more interesting options, and what she will be doing is she's going actually to drop onto Tekna, and maybe we'll put her here. Drop onto Tekna and attack her. She's got 2 action dice, and she's got 2 power-up dice, and she's going to attack Tekna. Now, her total is going to be an interesting one, because obviously she'll be definitely using at least 1 of her power-up dice. She's going to be using her basic die, and wall crawlers have this interesting thing to represent the fact that they're rarely sitting just on the ground. Whenever they're in base to base with any piece of scenery, so in this case it's the building, they actually get to roll another die for their attack. So what action will Anansi choose? She's got a powerful action called Power Lunge. Whenever action has a power in front of it, it usually deals more than 1 point of damage on the basic effects, and that's what she's going to do at this moment. So there we go. Now, what about Tekna? Well, Tekna is unfortunately a sitting duck here for a while, so she uses her just 1 basic die to roll against the onslaught of Anansi. So let's roll it. It's Tekna's agility. Some infiltrators use agility in their attack roll, versus Tekna's defense. Now, Anansi has agility of 6, which should land an easy blow, while Tekna's defense is only 3. So yeah, Tekna did not stand a chance. Tekna has a total of 5 against Anansi's 11. So, of course, Anansi's agility is her trump trait, so not only did she manage to land in 1 simple attack, but also she managed to do some extra damage. So she damages Tekna for 2 points of damage on the basic effects, and then extra effects, she chooses this to go towards extra points of damage. So Tekna suffers 3 points of damage, and she's not the Supreme with a lot of health, so this is a serious blow. Okay, so what we're gonna do right now, so it's time to finally activate Ace of Rays and make him useful. This guy is going to use his special action called Ace of Rays, which is of course his trademark action. He pays 1 action point, and it's a target value thing, so he's going to be rolling just 1 die. The die just needs to roll 2 plus in order to be successful, which it does, and it also manages to generate an extra effect. But I was doing this mostly for the basic effect, which makes a spectral, basically making him immune to all of the physical attacks, but also gives a special E effect to his Ghost Shot action, which can turn other models spectral. And this is what I'm really aiming for. Well, the good thing is that I rolled an extra effect, which will make that Ace is going to be rolling, he's going to be attack +1, and he's going to be rolling more dice in for the rest of the round. And once he launched that, he's going to, Spectral allows him to move through the models, so he's going to go in here and position himself for the next opening that's going to show up. So now it's time to use Nuke again. Nuke is going to pay 1 extra point. Okay, this point should go after Ace, and fire away. He's using 1 die, but this time, look, he does not get his blaster bonus because Wildman is in base to base with him, but he gets also another die for the fact that Wildman is a living model. Okay, so sorry, those are the hero dice. So this is the villain's die, and Wildman unfortunately rolls just 1 die. So let's see how it works. It's a 5 and a 1 versus a 3. So once again, Nuke damages Wildman for 2 points of damage, and the things are starting to look really bad in here. Back to the heroes. As you see, we have only 3 action points left in the pool, so we're gonna use 2 of these points to shoot with the Ghost Shot. Now, why I want the ghost shot? The ghost shot because there's a chance of turning the opponent's spectral, and therefore disallowing them to use any of the energy and strength actions. So first, hopefully can do something to Anansi and stop her from killing Tekna. So Ace would normally roll 1 die, but remember that he scored an E effect on the last activation, so it's 2nd die, and his usual blaster bonus of 2. He rolls a total of 4 dice. Well, Anansi, she rolls a basic defense die. She also rolls a die for the world crawler because she's in base to base with the terrain, and she's going to use her final power-up die to roll 3 dice against it. She stands a pretty good chance with her trait, defensive trait, agility is 6 and it's a trump trait. So let's see what Ace does. Okay, so Ace rolls a 6 and 3, 3 and 2. And Anansi? Anansi is not that lucky. She rolls a single 5. What does that mean though? That means that Ace attack gets through because 6 and 6 is 12 and Anansi 6 plus 5 is 11. But since she rolled a 5 on the defensive trait of agility, which is her trump trait, she manages to cancel the E effects, 1 E effect that Ace had generated. So unfortunately Ace's plan is foiled and he does not manage to place spectral on Anansi. Okay, so villains have some more tokens to spend. They still have 4 tokens to use up, and heroes are just down to the last action point. Now in this case, you gotta look carefully through the list of the things you can do. Nuke can fire away his remaining points into the Wildman, but since Anansi still feels threatened in here, it's her that's gonna go over the action. Now, she is going to use a little different action since she has a chance of actually damaging 2 targets at this time. She's going to use a web barrage. It's an AP2 action, making Anansi go all the way up to her AP limit, so she will not be able to do anything else this round. What's cool about this action is that this is a pulse action. Pulse 4 means that all the models within 4 inches from the base of her are actually targets for the action. So she fires that away in hope of actually hitting both Tekna and Ace of Race, but let's not forget that Ace of Race is spectral, and Web Barrage is an agility action, so there's no chance to damage him. If this was a mind action or spirit action, spectral models are still vulnerable to these, but nothing's going to happen to Ace, so we won't even bother rolling the dice. Sorry Anansi, you forgot that. So, let's see how it works out. She rolls just 1 die at this point, and Tekna is going to be defending with just 1 die. So it's a 6 versus 2, and so that means not only the action is successful and she suffers the effects of it, but also suffers the E effects. So the basic effects of it are shift 4, and Anansi wants to make sure that Tekna is not getting a lot of bonuses soon, so she shifts her by 4 inches. There you go, Tekna. There's no point in throwing her into the water because she's able to levitate over it. So she's here, but she also suffers 1 extra point of damage from the special E effects. Okay? So we're looking at 2 points more in the villain pool and 1 action point in the heroes pool. Knowing that there's not much that can be done with these points, Tekna decides to get ready for the next round when things will get really scary and uses her boost power called Shield of Daedalus, hoping that she actually is going to be using something else. She's going to use the secret verse of Mekana, hoping that she'll be able to get some power-up dice for her and for her friends in the team. This is an indirect attack, meaning that you don't actually have to see the target. It targets models within 8 inches, so she would not be able to give the bonus to Wildman, but she's able to give the bonus to Ace of Race. She rolls just 1 die, and since this is a target value 8 and her mind is 5, it's going to succeed on a roll of 3. Well, it did not succeed, it's a 2. So the round ends for the heroes since they don't have any extra action points in their pool. Now you can complete all of the activations with the villains with the remaining 2 points. Nuke can still activate, Nancy cannot activate, and Aurelius can activate, so those points have to be shared between these 2 guys. So this is a quick overview of how the action round in the game of Pulp City works. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you got any questions, let us know on the Kickstarter page or on the Facebook page. Thank you for watching.